Yo, what's up, everybody? What if I could tell you a way to make $1 million easily and effortlessly? What if I could tell you a way to change the trajectory of your life today and from this point forward? How much would that be worth to you? Think about that. But guess what? You don't have to think too long. I'm going to show you the way. It's simple, but it's difficult. It's simple, but it's difficult. The reason I say it's simple, but it's difficult, because me saying this to you, it's simple. Conceptually, it's simple, but practically applying it to your life may be challenging to you, depending on the type of person you are. So this is it. Change your state, change your life. I'm not saying change your state like the state that you live in, if you're in the U.S., or your physical location. By state, I'm saying change your mental state, change the state that you're living in. So live in the end. Neville used this term many times. Abdullah used this term many times. Living in the end. If you don't know the story of Neville and his trip to Barbados, I'll give it to you briefly. Neville Goddard was in New York City. His mentor and teacher, Abdullah, who he had been studying with for years, they were having a discussion where Neville stated that he wanted to go back to Barbados for Christmas, and he had never really had this desire since he'd been in New York City, and he had never really had this desire to go back home to Barbados and spend Christmas there. And at this point in time, for whatever reason, he felt compelled to want to go back home to Barbados, spend time with his family. So Abdullah told him incredulously, "You are in Barbados." And it's like, Ab, what does that mean? I'm in Barbados. Like, I'm in New York. So Abdullah told him, "You are in Barbados," and then left it alone, closed the door on him. And Neville was left to contemplate with that. So then, I believe after another conversation, Neville told him again, "I want to be in Barbados for the holidays. I want to go visit, but I don't have any money." It's the time of the Depression. He had no job. He had no money, no means. Nobody really reached out to him. So Abdullah repeated to him again, "You are in Barbados." So after that, I guess Neville got the hint, and that's when he started to live in the end. He started to sleep in the state that he was in Barbados. So when he fell asleep at night in his bed in his father's home in Barbados. Meaning, in his mind's eye, in his imagination, as he fell asleep and closed his eyes, he saw himself falling asleep in his bed in his parents' home in Barbados, listening to, I guess, the sounds of the ocean, the trees, the palm trees rustling, everything that reminded him of home. And that shift in his mental state created, that imaginal act actually created movement within the universe to physically manifest his trip to Barbados. So lo and behold, to make a long story longer, what happened was, I believe Neville's brother ended up sending him a ticket to go back home to Barbados, with an additional $50, I believe, for tips for the people on the ship to take him back to Barbados, and for him to buy a suit. So Neville kept saying this to Abdullah, he wanted to go back to Barbados. Abdullah kept telling him, "You are in Barbados." And then I think Neville wanted to go, Neville didn't even want to go first class, but Abdullah may have told him, "And you went first class." So there was a change, and somehow Neville actually ended up going first class to Barbados on his trip, and All of this came from his imaginal act and a change in his mental state. Outside of that, he did no external activity or nothing physically to make this happen. So this is what I'm telling you. If you want $1 million, if you want to change your life, it comes from changing your mental state and those imaginary acts that you're having within your mind on a daily basis. And like we've taught many times, you can do the state akin to sleep method. This is what Neville did here. He fell asleep in that place in Barbados. Even though he was sleeping in New York, he saw himself falling asleep in his bedroom in Barbados. That imaginal act went into the ether, went into the universe, and it went into his subconscious mind and basically programmed it to say, hey, bring me a trip to Barbados. I want to be in Barbados. So, due to that act, this physical representation in 3D, the trip came to him in real life, in this reality. So that's all you have to do. It's simple, but it's difficult in practice. It's simple for me to tell you this, but it's going to be hard for many of you to implement this into your life. But the easiest way that I could tell you to do it is when you are falling asleep at night, embody whatever you want. If it was $1 million, $1,000, $10,000, if it's a monetary sum, think, what would I feel like if I had $10,000 cash right now? And fall asleep imagining $10,000 in cash is either in your room or $10,000 is in your personal bank account. And really imagine that and see it as fall asleep feeling as though, oh, I have this money in my account. Do it for at least 7 nights in a row. And I'm telling you, something's going to happen. And you'll come back. Hopefully you'll come back to this video and tell us exactly what happened. But this is one of those instances where don't knock it until you try it. This is not woo-woo. This is information that is backed by science and the actual reality that we live in. This is a holographic universe. This is a matrix. And what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So be mindful, be blessed, have a wonderful day, and can't wait to see the wonderful manifestations that you all bring about. Peace.